your primary education is very important to you. And I share this with my own daughter, my son, who is actually right now in the U.S. Coast Guard. And what you learn in your primary education, I want you to take what you hear today into your post-secondary education. Because every one of you all will not be teenagers. Most of you are only a year, 2 years, 3 years from being an adult. And so before I get started, I want to share something with you, and that is, life is filled with choices, and the choices you make determine the path that you take. And that's very important. So what I'm going to kind of talk about today for a few minutes, and that is, character is critical. I learned this young in my life. When I was young, I had a lot of great mentors in my life. And that's what it means is I surrounded myself with the right people in my life. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions. I'm not going to ask you to answer the questions out loud, but I want you to really zone out from your peers that are next to you, and I want you to think about the questions that I'm actually asking you. Who's your counsel? Your counsel is people who you would go to for advice. Consider those who surround you on a daily basis. Consider those who are sharpening you and challenging you in every area of your life. Who's holding you accountable to pursue your given goals that you have in front of you? Who's holding you accountable to achieve your given purposes in life? One of the things these are questions that every one of you, and I ask myself as an adult, and I'm quite sure your faculty at the school ask these questions of themselves as well. So what iron sharpening relationships surround you on a daily basis that will help you to propel into your next level? You have to ask yourself that question. What individuals are around you to help sharpen you for that next level in life where you need to go to? Who has seen your next level? It's important. You've ever heard the term iron sharpening iron? So if you take two pieces of iron, when I was a little boy, my dad would, anybody seen knife sharpening? Ever seen anybody sharpen knives? You could take two knives and you rub them against each other. They get sharper when you do that. I learned that when my dad would go fishing, he would take the two knives and sharpen them, and it makes them sharper. And it's important that you be around sharp individuals who are going to help sharpen you. What that means is that individual will share things with you that you may not necessarily like. They're going to be honest. They're going to be truthful. So what mentors are currently operating on in your next level? Your inner circle, those who are closest to you, they can either keep you stagnant and hold you back from pursuing your destiny, or they can catapult you into your next dimension of where you need to go and where you want to go. You know, because every one of you in high school, this is your primary education. And it's very important that you surround yourself with the right individuals to be successful. Now, I'm going to share a little bit with you about my little history, okay? When I was a teenager, I was just like you, busy. I played football my freshman year in high school, but then when I realized you get hit so hard, I dropped out. I didn't like that part. But then I got into the business of music industry. Some of the most famous people that's out there, I had a privilege of working with. You may have heard of like Hootie and the Blowfish, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg. So I did a lot of marketing for a lot of the big name acts back in the 80s and the 90s. But I surrounded myself with the right individuals during high school, going to business seminars and workshops in downtown Manhattan, which landed me my first executive position right out of school. So surrounding yourself with purposeful, skilled, mature, and wise individuals is real important. Who's around you during your most vulnerable times? You got to ask yourself, who do you rely upon to help you navigate critical decisions? It's important to surround yourself with wise counsel or people who have your best interests at heart and you're not afraid to tell you the truth, like you shouldn't do that, or that's not a good idea. Because if you're always around individuals who will always, because your parents are not going to be there, okay? If someone's always agreeing with you, that's going to be a problem. You want people who are going to challenge you, your character, because when you got strong character individuals in your life, they don't want to see you go the road that's going to take you down that's really bad. So iron sharpening iron relationships will reveal your character and expose your level of maturity. Do you surround yourself with those who are stronger than you? Are you surrounding yourself with those who are wiser than you? Are you surrounding yourself with those who are more skilled than you? Who's sharpening you in every area of your life? It's very important. I want you to think about the two knives when my dad was going fishing and he would be out there fishing. And anybody ever been fishing before? All right, so when fishing, anybody eat the scales on the fish? No. You take the fish and you scale it with the knife. You get the scales off the fish, and then you cut it down the middle and you gut it. You take the guts out. And that's because of a sharp knife. You don't bring a dull knife to scale a fish. You want a sharp knife so you can enjoy all that what you've done in the process of fishing after you cook it. And that's what you want to do. You want to have those sharp individuals in your life. Someone who's sharper than you. I always tell everybody in life, there's always somebody smarter than you. That's right. There's always somebody who's better than you. There's always somebody who's stronger than you. And that's okay. And there's always going to be somebody who's not as smart as you and not as strong as you. So that's why either you're going to be one type of knife or the other type of sharpening. One or the other. We're all going to have those individuals in life. Either we're going to be at that level and trying to get to the next level, or we're going to be helping someone get to the next level. And that's very important. And that's character, because we must be willing to be able to allow individuals to help sharpen us and sharpen other individuals. So, iron sharpening relationships will strengthen your skill, your character, your maturity. Who's investing in you is another question. As I told you earlier, I'm going to ask you a series of questions, not asking you to say them out loud, but I want you to think about, actually, this is real questions. How many seniors in here today? Raise your hand. Now, think about that. I just got my AARP card. I'm excited. I pull it out every time I want to get a discount. All right? I enjoy my ARP card. But you're seniors, right? So you have underclassmen. You have a privilege and an honor and opportunity to sharpen someone to get to where they're going to be in 3 years where you're at. You're going to be freshmen in college. Guess what? Now you're going in green again. You're going to be looking for mentors, people to surround yourself, to sharpen you. Same thing, that whole cycle goes on and on and on through life. You get your first job. You're going to find another mentor, sharpen. That's what it's all about. But you want to surround yourself with the right individuals. It's very key. So constructive feedback is one of the most essential for the construction of your next season in life. What are you building with? How are you building your life? You have to be willing to have good, strong character. You have to look at, how am I building that? What am I doing to help my character? I always tell people, when nobody's around, when nobody sees you, that's real character. Like, if your teacher's out, or let's say if you get a job and you're working from home, nobody sees you. That's real character. Are you going to still do it when nobody sees what you're doing? So character counts, and who you surround yourself counts as well. You have to surround yourself with strong individuals. My successes in life have been because I've always surrounded myself with people of good character. There are going to be people who will always try to pull you down. And I'm going to leave you with this. I remember doing anybody ever heard of Clive Davis before? I remember when I was doing an event at a company that I was working at in the music industry, and we did some kind of big event. It was in Miami, and with a lot of things at the Fontainebleau, very famous hotel. This is before Jay was born. And there was a gentleman who came up to me one day, and he didn't book his hotel room. He worked for another record company in the industry, and he shared with me some things. I knew he was doing drugs, but character is important. So I said, no, you can't stay in my room. So the character is important. You want to surround yourself with strong individuals with strong, good character, because it can pull you down. And the last thing is, don't knock when someone is trying to encourage you. A lot of times we get into a place in our lives where we don't want to hear someone who is actually telling us the truth, and we shut them out. Be open. You know, and I know, everyone in this room knows when we need to listen. And listening is a very important thing when you're having good, strong character. Because as an adult, and I tell this to my own kids, and I tell it to young people everywhere, you're not going to be kids all along. You're not going to be teenagers. Most everyone in this room is probably 2-3 years from adult life, being a young adult. And what that means is your consequences become greater when you're an adult. So think about it.